Good day, everyone. Welcome to another discussion or lecture on cosmotechnics in ritual spatial design systems, sacred space comparatives, and I am Dr. Lionel Sanchez. But before that, I would like to review the lesson that we have for the last uh, module. Uh, for module 3, one theory that we can attach to the topic is that narrative in memory in design. Design is not just about how things look, it's also about the stories that they carry. So, some objects remind us of important people, places, or traditions. Like, for example, a family photo that you have, a rosary that your grandma gave you, or a souvenir from home. When people move to new countries, objects and spaces can help them remember where they come from and how they feel connected to their families and their culture. So, the takeaway that perhaps we can carry alongside this one is that designers can create objects that help people remember their history and feel close to who they are, even if they are far away. Notable theories behind the narrative and memory and design is the work of Pierre Nora U de Memoire in 1984, identifying objects and spaces as sites of memory, and the work of Marianne Hirsch on post memory in 1997, referring to inherited memory of trauma and culture through generations. The next theory that we can attach to the last module is diasporic aesthetics. Some examples are Homi Bhabha's work in 1994 introducing the third space, or the hybridity theory, explaining how these diasporic identities are shaped in between cultures. Also, Gloria Anzaldua's Borderlands theory, articulating how bodies and identities navigate in between spaces and language. Because people who live in new countries bring their culture with them. So over time, they mix the styles, the languages, the traditions from their old home with their new one. So somehow this creates a hybrid design style, something unique and something in between. So you may see this in patterns in clothes, in furniture, and decorations that blend two or more cultures together. So the takeaway that we can take from diasporic aesthetics theory is that diaspora inspires creative designs that show more than one identity at the same time, and it celebrates who we are now, and who we are also becoming. The final theory that I would attach the last module number 3, is the critical identity design theory. Proponents for this type of theory on critical identity is Stuart Hall, who had a work in 1990 arguing that identity is constructed and it is not fixed at all. It's formed through cultural practices and media. Also, Sarah Ahmed's work on in 2006 on orientation shows how body inhabits spaces differently based on race, gender, and even queerness. So those are the three theories I got attached to Module 3 on time, memory, and diaspora. In this new module on sacred spatialities, we are going to compare different Asian religions and how it can inform design. So, another very unique quality of Asian aesthetics is that it is very much informed by religion and spirituality, even up to present. And one design practice based on spirituality is what we all know as feng shui. And feng shui developed in China, and it was developed over 3,000 years ago. And the philosophy behind feng shui is very much stemmed from cosmology and how the environment harmonizes with the tangible. And the religion uh, that feng shui originated from is Taoism. One of the core principles of feng shui, and I think we already discussed this one, is that it is based on qi, or the universal energy flow. And it is also based on the yin and the yang, the balance of the dual forces, and a wuxing, the five elements: wood, fire, earth, the metal, and water. One of the functions of feng shui is that it orients spaces to maximize the positive energy flow in interior spaces, and at the same time, it also enhances health. It aims to enhance harmony and prosperity. Usually, Feng Shui uses the Bagua map in trying to determine how a space is arranged and divided accordingly. The design applications for Feng Shui is that it is used heavily on designing homes, furniture placement, and also even in landscape design, even not just residential, but also at the same time commercial and institutional design. So Bagua zoning guides are used in feng shui to indicate the areas. So one of the visual and symbolic cues used in feng shui is that it uses a lot of mirrors, plants, water features, and even symbolic animals. They also use natural elements and also a compass, for orientation of different rooms. Example, the bed and the furniture. The second religion, rather the second aesthetics, spiritual, sacred specialities that we are going to tackle is Zen aesthetics. It originated in Japan, by the way, and it was developed between around the years 6 to 12th century. Um, it emphasizes simplicity, stillness, and contemplation, and its origins can be traced back to Buddhism in Japan. One of the core principles, rather, of Zen is wabi-sabi, or the imperfection and transience. Also, ma, the space between forms, and shibui, or an aesthetics that is subtle, and it is considered as refined beauty. The spatial functions for Zen design is that it promotes introspection and calm, and at the same time, emptiness is a spiritual presence in Zen aesthetics. That is why it deals with minimalism, uh, because it also encourages emptiness. In Zen, one of the applications is that it uses a lot of wood, it uses a lot of paper, stone, and also light is an important aspect in Zen design, and also the use of screens. As you can see in the picture, tatami mats and rock gardens, similar to this picture. One of the many visual and symbolic cues for designing a space that is in accordance with the Zen aesthetics is that rake it uses rake gravel, bonsai, water basins. It also plays heavily on light, shadows, and materials that are already aging, or materials that show their patina. The third uh, um, religion, or rather design, um, a philosophy in terms of sacred specialities that we are going to tackle is Vastu Shastra. It is originated from India around 6th century before Christ, and it is deemed as the science of dwelling and stems from the Hinduism religion. The core principles of Vastu Shastra is Vastu Purusha Mandala, or the cosmic grid aligning deities. So it uses the cosmic grid aligning deities, which I will show you later on, and also sacred geometry and cardinal directionality is a huge factor in Vastu Shastra. Another thing is planetary influence on architecture. The spatial functions for Vastu Shastra is that it uh, indicates spatial zones aligned to cosmic order. Also, center kept on open and sacred spaces, and at the same time, it is supposed, when applied, it is supposed to promote well-being and energy balance. This is what I meant, no, when it comes to how deities inform the directionality of Vastu Shastra. It is being used also in temples, in cities, in homes, and even in gardens. And it is an orientation and materials based on ancient Vedic texts. The visual cues and symbols used in Vastu Shastra is the use of yantras, its symmetry and directional gates, and various sacred motifs used in ornamentation. Fourthly, we have Trihita Karana. It originated from Indonesia around the 15th to 16th century, and it is uh, built on the principal foundation of the three causes harmony, and it originated from Balinese Hindu Buddhism practice. The core principles of Trihita is harmony with God, harmony with people, and harmony with nature. The function of applying Trihita Karana is supposed to indicate sacred zones, the mountain sea axis, and ritual alignment with nature and with gods. One of the design applications for Trihita Karana is that it is used in temple and compounds of the temple and planning, and the mandala layout, which is Kaja mountain and Kelod sea axis, the mountain sea axis. One of the visual cues in Trihitakarana is the split gates, as you can see in the picture, or the altars and water features. And it also is being applied with using tiered shrines representing the cosmos. So, example, this one, it is has a tiered roofing. Okay, the final sacred speciality is the Babaylan cosmology. Of course, it originated in our very own Philippines, even in pre-10th century Domini, and it is a pre-colonial Philippine worldview of sacred speciality based on indigenous Philippines. The core principles of the Babaylan is based on the belief of vertical cosmology. The sky world, the earth world is a different realm, and the underworld is also a different realm. Space as inhabited by the spirits and the ancestors. The spatial functions for in using Babaylan is the orientation to natural features such as the rivers, the hills, and the trees in various Philippine forests. The sites chosen for ritual potency or ancestral presence. Design applications of Babaylan cosmology is used in designing the Bahay Kubo or the Bahay na Bato to reflect the cosmological order, and also the use of natural and breathable uh, indigenous materials. The visual cues in Babaylan is in can be found in tattoos, in textiles, and even in carved ornamentation. And it uses nature mainly as material and sacred space. So, thank you very much for listening for this lecture on sacred specialities. Goodbye, and I hope you have a wonderful day.